Yeah. Back at it, back at it. But it's been a minute, man. I think I did a video last week, but then I erased it because I ain't really like it. You know how that's how it is sometimes. But I've been posting this frequently. I've been on the grind, been traveling, was on sabbatical. Doing a little video showing y'all looking for Jay-Z and Beyonce. All that stuff. So, but I want to jump right into this, man. This has been there's been two stories that have kind of dominated. I mean, there's tons of stories, right? But two stories that have dominated kind of the sports and entertainment world have had a similar theme, and so I want to talk about them. So if you look at the title, description, or if you look at the thumbnail, we're going to talk about Ime Udoka, Boston Celtics head coach, and then Adam Levine, so frontman for Maroon 5 band that's been around for some time. All right. So let's start with Adam Levine. Let's start with this, right? Let's start with Adam Levine. Many of you know him, his music, and all that. So this is Adam Levine, frontman for Maroon 5, the voice, coach, and so forth, right? This is Adam Levine. Well, he, in the last 2 weeks, an Instagram model put on TikTok and basically gave a cryptic message about being in a sexual relationship with a married dude who's married to an Victoria's Secret model. And then eventually people started putting it together, and she said it was Adam Levine. She had screenshots of text messages, things that he sent her, even asked her, said he's about to have his third child, wanted to name it after her name, which is Sumner, something like that. I don't know nobody black that names their kids stuff like that. But that's a different conversation. So that came out and people were reacting to that. But then, and maybe at least more known and from what I've been paying attention to. So Ime Udoka is the head coach of the Boston Celtics. He's last year was hired as the head coach for Boston. And in his first year took the Boston Celtics to the NBA Finals, where they lost in 6 games to the Golden State Warriors. So this guy's future career ceiling is big. I mean, I forgot there was someone knows this information, like what percentage of first year coaches go to the championship series. I don't remember what it is, but this was a big deal for him. Well, it came out initially that he was being suspended for a year because he was in a consensual sexual relationship with a staff person. And people were all over the place about it, upset, different comments all over the place. Then, as the story unraveled, it became clear that at least one of his, alleged sexual, affairs, if you want to call it that, was with the VP of Boston Celtics, so a white woman. And then there's been all this speculation about, well, why is he being punished but not her if it was a consensual relationship and all this other stuff, right? I don't. They said she's on staff with the Boston Celtics, but her husband is the VP. Like I don't. It's a little bit different. That's a different ball game. And so this has been explosive, and the people were coming out defending him, and then coming back saying, "Oh, it's worse than I thought, and I shouldn't have spoke before I knew the information." And everyone from Stephen A. on down, everyone's having a problem with Ime Udoka in particular, and a lot of people are saying, "Okay, why is he being punished?" And they're making it a race issue. He's black. This woman is white. Why are there no repercussions for her and all of that? So I'm watching all of this. I'm watching I pay attention to a lot of stuff. I typically don't do the news stuff as much, even though I still enjoy it and I always have perspective on it. I usually try to stick to stuff about the Bible and things, but every once in a while I think it's good to see some things and highlight it. So the question that I'm posing in this video is Ime Udoka and Adam Levine's cheating scandal is a good thing? And I put yep. And let me tell you why. This is out of all the videos I've seen, there's one thing that I feel like I haven't seen anyone talk about. Now, to be fair, it's not like I've watched a million videos. I don't think I'm that original. I'm sure someone has brought up what I'm about to say, but I just haven't seen it. So I'm not taking from someone else. This is just, as I've observed all of this, both Adam Levine, I've watched the videos read some of the stuff, the transcripts of conversations, and then more women are saying that he's, kind of pursued them and saying you should all that. And I've been more closer to the Ime Udoka because I'm an NBA fan. I'm more drawn to that story than Adam Levine's. I don't know why I keep having Adam Levine up on the screen. All right. So real quick. So this is Ime Udoka, for those of you who don't know. He's the head coach of the Boston Celtics, who is currently under a year suspension for having sex with at least what we know as the VP of the Boston Celtics. I don't know I forgot what particular brand, VP of marketing or something, but her husband's kind of a big dog. And so he's suspended for a year. There's a lot of controversy. People are upset about this. But there is one thing that I think is an actually good thing out of all of this. And I'm surprised that I haven't heard this brought up more. Maybe you have if you're watching now or later. But when you look at both of these situations, right, the one thing that I think is actually good about the fact that these guys cheated, and this is probably going to sound weird. Kurt, aren't you a pastor? How is this a good thing, right? Here's a good thing that I think has happened as a result of all of this. In both situations, and from different crowds of people, these two worlds, I don't even think they collide together. Adam Levine is pop culture, this or that. Ime Udoka's black NBA coach. The issues are different. People are saying this is racist to go after the black coach and make him have repercussions, but not the white woman that he slept with. And then you have over here Adam Levine. It's just all of this stuff, right? The good thing that I think has come out of it, and if you're a believer, this is actually something that should encourage you. And it's not that they cheated or committed adultery. Adam Levine is married, and Ime Udoka is not married, but has a child by a very popular actress named Nia Long, who a lot of men have publicly professed love towards, would love to marry her, be with her. And so this guy got her. So a lot of people are like, man, he's an idiot. How could he do this to Nia Long? Here's the one good thing about this whole situation. In both cases, most of these people that, as far as I know, are not professing Christians. All right. These aren't believers who I'm aware of are professing Christians. Both groups of people, tons of people, are outraged. Outraged. Okay. And the reason that they're outraged is because of infidelity. Adam Levine, people are outraged that he cheated on his wife. They're outraged that he told the girl, and she showed the screenshots. So, I mean, maybe she's lying, but she showed us that he was saying, hey, I'm going to have my third kid. If it's a son, would you be okay if I named him after you? Like, just really crazy stuff to tell the girl, the woman, that you're cheating with, or to use a biblical language, committing adultery with. Can you name your child that you're having with your wife after the woman that you're sinning with, right? Ridiculous. But people are outraged by this. And again, you could tell by some of the language and the way these aren't people who profess to believe in Jesus. Then you got the Ime Udoka situation, who he's not married, but the woman that at least one of the women, that the most known woman, the VP, whose husband's a VP in the Boston Celtics, she's married. People are outraged over the infidelity. They're like, man, this was a married woman. You had, all these other women. If you were going to do this with, you could have chosen another woman, but you chose a married woman. And there's speculation as to why. Well, Adam Levine, the girl who broke the story, is saying, I was a victim. I was young. I was 23. I was manipulated. And people are like, man, she's ridiculous, man. You knew he was married. There's no way you didn't know. He's all this stuff, right? So I'm looking at all of this, and it's such a tragedy. I feel bad for the families involved. But what I'm encouraged by is that in a post-sexual sacred society, right, where sexuality is no longer sacred in our society, gender's not sacred. None of these things they're all been, in many ways, in terms of the culture, have been obliterated by just however I feel, what I'm entitled to, right? All of this stuff is happening. We live in a society where sex is no longer sacred. There are more songs. Look, all the single people in the world, and there are more songs that talk about you taking someone else's man or woman. Like out of all the people. In fact, there is a YouTube channel that I watched. I got like hooked on it for a minute because I couldn't believe this. But it's a channel where they do these things called integrity checklist, right? So this guy, there's a couple different guys that do it, but there's one guy in particular that I would watch, and he would walk up to random people with his phone and someone filming it, and he'd ask two people, "Hey, are you?" And they were usually like friends. It's usually like good friends, and he'd say, "Hey, are you in a relationship? Yep. Are you in a relationship? Do you guys know each other's relationship? People? Yeah, yeah, we're best friends. We know each other's spouse, boyfriends, or whatever." He'd be like, "Hey, would you mind doing the loyalty checklist?" And you call your best friend's, significant other and try to see if they'll have sex with you. They call it Netflix and chill, right? Which is basically a code word for let's have sex, right? Watch a movie and have. So he has all these videos of people. I'm talking about these are people that are best friends he's standing in front of. And this girl will call her boyfriend, her best friend's boyfriend, and then you'll find out that they've been cheating all along, right? And you watch, it's a chaos. And I've watched this enough to be like, wow, these people don't even care about. I mean, I've seen two brothers, people who are sisters, best friends, all cheating with their best friends or even siblings, boyfriend or girlfriend. I was like, wow, this is insane. So when this story broke, I expected to see a ton of people just like making excuses for why this wasn't a big deal. But the opposite has happened. Like people are outraged that the people involved in these things were married or were in some kind of relationship. Now, why is this a good thing? Because in the society that we live in, where there is no more sacred sexuality, you got Hebrews 13 that talks about let the married bed be pure, right? There are still people who do not profess to have any faith that I know of. They're outraged that these two men are breaking defiling the marriage bed. And I'm fascinated because we live in a culture where it seems like all everyone wants to do is have any kind of sexuality. They make excuses for it. There's no shame anymore. I remember when Tiger Woods some years ago, it got exposed that he was cheating on his wife and with this one particular lady. And then I remembered shortly after that, Gloria Allred, she's like this celebrity lawyer. She was representing three other women who all said that they had had sex with Tiger Woods and they were going to write books and all this stuff. They were trying to get it. And I thought, wow, what kind of world do we live? There was a time where back in like the 50s and all of that, if you would have like cheated, you were like a home wrecker, right? You were like, it wasn't a good thing. I mean, back in the Scarlet Letter days, you'd have to wear the letter A, adultery, around your neck so everyone knew what you did, right? There was just a shame. And over time, it's just gotten so shameless that when these women were trying to get book deals, like, and were for maybe a month or two famous because they committed adultery, they had sex with a married man, they were trying to capitalize on it. So all you've seen is just a culture that is infatuated with non-sacred sex and sexuality. And so here you have two scandals that involve marriages and cheating in the marriage, and people are outraged over it. I'm encouraged at least by that. So no, it wasn't good that they cheated, but I'm encouraged that there's still some semblance of humanity left and an understanding that you're married. In fact, there were other women who posted screenshots of Adam Levine, the Maroon 5 guy, of him trying to find them on Instagram. And one girl was like, he was like, "Man, I just want to spend the day with you naked." And she was like, Aren't you married? LOL. And he was like, yeah, but it's complicated. Like, to me, the institution of marriage has been broken. The institution of marriage, in many ways, it has been belittled. People don't want to be married. They don't value marriage. It really has taken a huge hit in terms of how people process that. Back in the day, if you got a woman pregnant, they would say, man, you got to make an honest woman out of her and marry her. Now, dudes like rapper Future. He got like 10 kids. Just be boasting about it. Like he got 10. There is no semblance of sacred sexuality, and marriage is no longer a place of, of satisfaction and something to protect. And now you got these two situations that are blown up in the world, in the media, and people are outraged because these men essentially, the world calls it had an affair. The Bible calls it committed adultery, right? Fornication, sex outside of the confines of between one husband and one wife. I'm actually encouraged, sadly, that I'm finding encouragement in the evil of others because other people are calling it evil in a society where no one cares about these things. People promote sexual sacredness, not sacredness. So on one level, this is crazy to me. I think I don't know what's going to come out of all of this. I don't know what's going to come out of it. I feel for the families. I'm not going to pretend, I'm not going to even lie to you, but I'm praying for everyone. I just kind of move on when these things happen. And so because I said it, I probably will pray for these families. But what I'm encouraged by in the Ime Udoka is one, that it got exposed, and two, that people are outraged that they did this in the confines of marriage. That is really encouraging because we don't live in a society where people value marriage. They like to break marriages up and talk about, they make shows about how stupid marriage is. And now you got people upset that you did this. Like, don't you have a wife? Like, I'm glad that people actually still care. So even while the world I feel like the world is burning and people are excited about the world burning. And here you have two prominent individuals, two huge stories. There are consequences because you're married, fam. People still care on some level about marriage, and I am grateful for that. I'm encouraged to see that the institution that God put together still matters, even among people who don't care about what God thinks and many other things. They at least have enough sensibility to say this is wrong. You're a horrible person for doing this, whatever. Now we're not talking about forgiveness and those things. These guys, I don't know if I don't think they profess to be believers. So, but I am encouraged by that. So as you see these things, if you're a believer, we can do a couple different things. We can respond with self-righteous judgment and outrage towards people. We can talk about where they just need Jesus and all of that. Listen, let's just be clear. That is true, but there are Christians, there are pastors, there are people who have Jesus that commit the same sins. So let's not act like Jesus alone will stop you from committing these sins. It's faithfulness to Jesus that will stop you from doing this, right? You got to be faithful. So to talk about they need Jesus, sure, but a lot of people that sin in similar ways have Jesus, all right? So I'm grateful that, wow, this is actually a thing that people care about this. But if you're a believer and you're watching all this stuff happening and you think like, don't self-righteously judge these folks and be like, man, look at it. These people we all stumble in various ways. And by the grace of God, adultery is not my story. It may not be your story. Good. Let's fight to not make it that. But what we can celebrate when we see something like this is that, wow, the institutions or the things that God cares about are still being protected, or still being, people still actually are outraged when these things are broken. I'm encouraged by that. So yeah, anyway, sorry for the break. It's been a while, but I'm back in it. I got a couple more things we're going to talk about, but not in this video. I do want to say this though, because one of the homies told me this. I got to put this out there, put this shameless plug here right now. But a lot of people have been watching Jeffrey Dahmer. There's a movie called Dahmer on Netflix. It's really popular right now. A lot of people are talking about this and wondering it. Well, your boy, I put out an album last winter, called Serial Killer Smiling Pictures, right? This is it right here. What I did was I wanted to do a musical sort of score, sort of an albumentary, right? I wanted to, why are we so fascinated with serial killers? What is it about violence and things like that? And I mean, from mafia to gangster movies to the Wild Wild West, and what is it about violence that we're drawn to? Even believers, I know people who watch like these true crime shows, watch them all day. And so I did an album where I wanted to research what is happening here. And I'm encouraged at the feedback that I've gotten. But because this new show, Dahmer, is out and a lot of people are watching it, if you're a rap fan, go to iTunes, Spotify, whatever, look for Kirk Kennedy, get this project, Serial Killer Smiling Pictures, listen to it all the way through, and then let me know what you think about it. It's funny, someone brought this up to me, the homie Brandon was like, man, every time you drop a project, you're always talking about where the culture is going, ends up. Like every time I do an album, it's crazy. So this came out last year, working on some new stuff now, but check that out. It's on Spotify, iTunes. I'll put links in the description. Thank you so much. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you all. I haven't even been posting, and people have been subscribing to the channel. I haven't even been doing it. So I'm back, though. I got a couple things about to knock a couple of heads off in a good way, right? Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching live, and thanks for watching on the playback. Appreciate you. Go get Serial Killer Smiling Pictures. And if you are a believer and you see all this crazy stuff happening, pay attention to the responses. And when you see people outraged at things that God is also outraged at, or at least expresses this is wrong, be encouraged by that at the very least. Sad it happened, but glad that people are angry that it happened. And I work with that for right now. All right, I'm Kirk Kennedy, signing off. Appreciate y'all, man. Grace and peace.